like a circle that floats around me, keeping me safe and sound. And when I fall, you tied a rope to me. You're blessing me every day.
You guys are alive.
Ang aming advokasya na 10 taong programa para sa trauma-informed ay aming ipagpapatuloy sa buong Pilipinas. Naniniwala po ang UDRiVe Group na sa pakikipagtulungan ng mga opisyal at mga namumunong tao, ang magkaroon ng isang trauma-informed community ay posible at may pag-asa. Kami, ang UDRiVe Group, ay magsisilbing kasama ninyo sa paglalakbay patungo sa mas magandang kinabukasan. We change the way we care, help, understand, and respond.
Visionary Vanguard Award for Trauma-Informed Excellence. UDRiVe.
Hello everyone. So magandang gabi. Magandang umaga sa Pilipinas and good evening to the rest of the world. Now I'm Poy de Lara here, your coach at UDRiVe Group, and we are live today to have an info session about our upcoming event on February 3 to 8, which is called Building Resilient Communities Through Trauma-Informed Care. So we are calling all healthcare providers, educators, social workers, community leaders, and policymakers to join our once-in-a-lifetime event. This will be February 3 to 8. So on February 3, that's going to be the plenary program that's going to be held at the MK Tan Hall at the Bayanihan Center of Unilab in, is that Pasig or, yeah, Pasig City or Mandaluyong City. And then the rest of the training from February 4 to February 8, that will be at the Privato Hotel Ortigas. So now details are there on the screen. If you wish to inquire more or know more about this event, just stay tuned. And if you're watching this on replay, please comment #replay. Now, what we're gonna have is an info session. I'm gonna introduce two of our guests today. One is the Vice President for Program Development of UDRiVe Group, Coach Rowie Rizala, and of course our special guest that would be able to enlighten us on why we are really pushing for this program, especially the certified clinical trauma specialist training and the salutogenic asset focused narrative exposure therapy training to practitioners in the Philippines. So let's introduce Coach Rowie. Here you go. Say hi to our viewers. We have 20,000 viewers today.
Morning, everyone.
And of course, the founder and president of Arizona Trauma Institute and the Trauma Institute International, Dr. Bob Rhoton. Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you, Bob, for being with us today. So, if you do have questions, I have a lot of questions here from based on the meetings that we had with various organizations and communities that Dr. Rhoton and Coach Rowie could answer for us. And of course, if you do have questions, please just comment on the UDRiVe group and I will read the questions out loud. Now, Coach Rowie, since you are the program manager for this event, could you introduce the event and its significance to the Filipino communities?
Thank you very much, Coach Poy. So, on February 3 to 8, it's a groundbreaking event for the Philippines. So, for the first time, we'll be having a very significant program on the trauma-informed care. And none other than, syempre, the most important thing, we have Dr. Robert Rhoton, the expert himself in trauma-informed care. And what we did, UDRiVe wanted to put into its proper place not only um, the what do you call this, not only a very specific uh, a very small aspect of the trauma informed care. We wanted a holistic discussion of trauma informed care, especially in the Philippines, which is very much affected by many um, adverse um, problems, traumatic stress. So what we did, we incorporated the most important thing, the critical role of the first 1,000 days and the growth and development of every individual. So during our event on the first day, we'll be having a public conference. This will be graced by none other than the expert herself and the awardee, the WHO awardee, Dr. Mian Silvestre. She'll be discussing the importance of the first 1,000 days and the mother-baby dyad. During the event on the first day, we'll be discussing first 1,000 days. Also, the effects of nutrition and its role to trauma-informed care in the health of every individual. We will be also discussing about epigenetic scars, which will be discussed by Dr. Rhoton. And the kids of UDRiVe will show us how to regulate. During the first day, the public conference, the kids will teach us that it's possible, it's doable to regulate. And syempre, the most important, also another important topic is adverse childhood experience, which will be discussed by our very own Poy de Lara, also an international coach. Yan, sikat na sikat yun not only here in the Philippines, lalong-lalo na sa Canada. Congratulations sa yung recent successful event sa Alert together with Combat Science, di ba? So, I wanted to invite Julie to talk about this after the first day public conference, we have CCTSI and SafeNet, which I think gusto kong mapaliwanag ito ng mas maigi ng ating clinical psychologist and also the admin manager for this event, Julie Reyna.
Yes, Julie is not here yet, but
Okay.
I assure you she's gonna join and she's gonna answer questions later on regarding that because it's really amazing. She's already a clinical psychologist and she's still like really into this CCTSI training. As a matter of fact, we've been talking for about a year and a half about if you could remember Dr. Rhoton, we've been talking about bringing you in Manila like a year and a half ago, right? And it is happening right now in 3 weeks. Yeah. So again, the prevalence. I'll go ahead.
If I may continue, so since Julie's not here, so the public conference also involves our sponsor, Unilab. Unilab will be sponsoring our event. So the venue will be at the MK Tan Hall at the Bayanihan Center for the first day of the public conference. This is open to all lay for laymen, for health workers, for students. So everyone is invited to attend this first day conference, public conference. Okay. And during this event also, we will be having a milk donation drive, a breast milk donation drive, because as we all know, trauma informed care is holistic. We wanted to involve also the mothers, and we wanted to give special attention to the mother baby diet and the importance of first 1,000 days in breastfeeding. That's why we also involve the Latch Los Baños. It's an organization that will facilitate the milk donation milk drive. So mothers are also invited to attend this event, and also lactating or breastfeeding mothers are invited to donate milk for the sick, for the preemie who are beneficiaries of Latch Los Baños. It will be collected at the MK Tan Hall also, and mothers can also attend the public conference. During this day also, Mind Well Philippines, which is our partner, will be there uh, to conduct their to be part of the program. They will be having a booth which can answer the questions about the possible clinic hours after the training of CCTSI and SafeNet. Later on, we'll discuss about that. Another partner is the Go Ladies Producers Cooperative. Since it's building community resilience, we wanted to show everyone that it's possible to build resilience through involvement. And we have involved women's cooperative, to be part of the events because women are part of the vulnerable sector. So that first day will happen in the MK Tan Hall at the Unilabahanian Center, and then followed by the day 2 conference, which is the CCTSI. Day 2 is February 4 to 6, which will be held at the Privato Hotel. Again, this is open to healthcare workers, to professionals dealing with individuals. And CCTSI will be followed by SafeNet on the day 5th and the 6th of the event. So, Poy, can we introduce the program?
Yes, Dr. Rhoton will introduce the program later on for CCTSI and SafeNet. Thank you for that. And of course, if you want to know more about our training, our email is right below the screen. So you might want to email us, and of course, the dates of specific programs. So thank you for those introductions. And of course, I want to reach out to all our partners out there and send our gratitude to Arizona Trauma Institute, to ARD Talent Center, to Go Ladies, Latch Los Baños, Unilab, Kalusugan ng Mag-ina, and Mindwell.ph. Yeah. So for Dr. Rhoton, um, there's a question here that says, what inspired you to focus on trauma informed care, and how do you see its relevance to Filipino communities?
Well, that's two long answers. Uh, First one, what attracted me to this was really my own history. For those of you that are familiar with the ACE studies, in my history, I have 9 of 10. And I spent a good number of years trying to unravel my own experience and make sense of it. And as I began to pursue that, and I thought, I really want to be able to help other people recover from things like this. And what I found was that most of my education did not prepare me to deal with trauma. And of course, let's be honest, I started college in 1971. So, a lot of the science that we now use around neuroscience wasn't even a thought yet. So I've watched the field change a lot. And that's one of the things I really appreciate about some of the other leaders like Bessel van der Kolk. If you read things he was writing in the 70s about trauma to what he's written in, recently, you see this evolution. Movement. As the science changed, so has practice. And the challenge we run into that a lot of educational institutions are still teaching material that's 40, 50 years old that is designed to help people pass state licensure exams, but they don't really help people create change and transformation in people's lives. And so that became really important to me, and it became the focus. And we have been in an active campaign to change the way mental health actually looks at what's going on in people's lives. Now, how can that impact you in the Philippines? And I'm going to kind of simplify this as much as possible because it's really complex. But the Philippines have been an actively stressful area of the world for a long time. They were subjected to colonialism, which is always predatory and aggressive, and which meant that people were being raised in states of pretty extreme stress. And the gift of that is that you have a mother that's living in a stressed environment, and she is carrying a child. Somewhere around the middle of the second term, that child is going to be transmitting the hormones, the stress hormones of the mother through the placenta into the child. And this child is going to be stimulated in ways that actually set them up for more problems. One of the ways it tends to reduce the mass and volume in the prefrontal cortex, which is needed for planning and being able to manage yourself well. It tends to build greater mass and volume in the amygdala or the limbic system, which means the child has a tendency to be more reactive. And, there's a number of other issues with that. So, and then that child is born, and it makes sense because the child has to adapt in the mother's womb to be able to live in the mother's environment. And then they grow to maturity and they're exposed to a continuation of the toxic stress that the mother experiences, and it continues to develop areas of their nervous system and the way their brain operates that is often unhelpful. We see, and this is not really news to us. In 1963, Mnuchin published a book on dealing with, boys in the slums. And basically what he was proposing there is that problems emerge when people are, living in poverty, and there's a lot of stress, and they feel out of control, and a lot of other things. So for me, I think what the real impact of this is you have this going on. It goes on a generation. The impact is felt in the following generation, and then you develop cultural adaptations that represent trauma, and they become kind of the norm in your society, and that just perpetuates stress on an ongoing basis. And so really the impact of trauma-informed care is trying to address an increase in stability. Will it solve all of those problems that have been several generations in the making? Eventually, but it's going to take some time and intergenerational change.
Thank you for that answer. So I kind of relate on what you said, that it's your own adverse childhood experiences that has drawn you to push for trauma informed care. Because I am the same. Like before my addiction, I didn't know that I was traumatized because everybody was saying, "You're okay, right? You just choose to do those stuff, right?" But
Mhm.
then again, I found out that my ACE score is 8. So, oh yeah, I'm not okay. But
Well,
these are
and
the
the funny thing about that is that when you're growing to maturity, because of your experience, you tend to gravitate to people that have similar experiences. And so you think hey, all my friends living the same way, so this is normal.
Mhm. That is true, right? This is normal. I have a problem. I drink. I have a problem. I do drugs and everything like that. And then you believe it yourself because and you begin to believe that yourself, you're just an addict, you're an angry person, and you're okay. So more of these kinds of talks and conversation. In the plenary program, we're gonna have a panel discussion that a lot of people would be able to ask questions for the panelists. So save your questions, some of your questions regarding your experiences, and maybe Dr. Rhoton could answer that live and face to face. There. Dr. Rhoton, can you share, like, you've been working with a lot of countries in Southeast Asia and right?
Mhm.
So, can you give examples of these countries, and if there are any examples of success stories where trauma informed care transformed at least a community?
Well, it's pretty new. Remember, if you're going to do a community change, it's really a generational process. But what I have seen, which has been interesting, is that, um, for example, in Singapore, which is really much more cosmopolitan than some of the other places, um, they have embraced it pretty strongly. And I now talk to people pretty regularly about, I get a call from somebody, how would we apply a salutogenic approach to our international school? How would we apply it to this or that? And so that's a very positive change, because what they're looking at is, instead of doing what has been traditional in almost all human culture, which is to look at the problems and focus on the pain and misery of that, um, they're beginning to focus on how can we thrive, how can we grow, how can we really make incremental changes that are going to be fundamentally earth changing for our community and the families in those communities. And so I'm really pleased with that. um, you know we have probably, I don't know the exact number, but the last time I checked, we had trained almost 1,000 therapists in Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, and Indonesia, and Singapore.
Oh wow.
So it's really been delightful to watch. I think part of the reason is salutogenics is almost opposite of traditional Western medicine, and people feel that particularly countries that have been oppressed by colonialism, having somebody come in and say, the psychologist is not superior. He or she is not, you know, someone that you should just obey without thinking about it. It is really more of, how do we work collaboratively? How do we practice compassion? Um, Yesterday, I was having a conversation with Rollins McCarty. I don't know if who that is, but he's the founder of Heart Math. And he was talking about, he's beginning to, so those people that are familiar with Heart Math will see this over the next year and a half. He's begun to say, really what we want to accomplish is to increase love in the community. And the ultimate expression of love for others is compassion. And I love that way of thinking about it.
Thank you for that. That's beautiful. And see if other countries can do it. I guess it's time for the Philippines as well to be open to new learning and, of course, to uh, collaboratively work towards a trauma informed Philippines. There's actually a message for you that just came in. Hi, Dr. Rhoton. Thank you for recognizing the impact of colonialism to the Filipino people, and it made sense how much of these intergenerational trauma has been passed on through generations. Thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for the work that you do. It stops with us. So there you go. That is for you.
It's very
Um,
cool.
Now, what are the key differences of the CCTSI program with other trauma training programs available worldwide?
Part of this system is really based in what we call a neuroaffective coherence model, which is, a combination of neuroscience and salutogenic practice. So the concept is that if you get people stable, and this is one of the things that makes some folks kind of uncomfortable. So let me kind of lay the groundwork. We have a lot of people that get trained in a model of treatment and feel like they know what to do. But there's a ton of research that's out there that suggests how we move people through therapy is much more important than which model we use. And my good friend Eric Gentry and I, in doing the research around this, found that if we could get people in a regulated state, in a relaxed body, a lot of the symptoms just went away on their own. And any model of therapy would work. And now, if you're an EMDRite or an ARTite and you have a religious conviction for that model of treatment, you think that's the thing you have to do. That's unfortunate. So what the CCTSI is really about is giving you all the science and understanding of how to move people through the process of transformation, starting with how do you stabilize them. And one of the things you're going to hear me talk about a lot is that you cannot invite a client to be more stable than you are. And we have worked with organizations before and do an assessment when we begin. And it's interesting that a couple of times we have found when we compare the mean scores of the clients to the mean scores of the therapists, the therapist scores, that mean is higher. And they're more of a mess than some of their clients. And so part of this is you cannot ask somebody to create transformation in their life if you aren't leading that in your own life. And people that have trauma histories have trouble with trust. They have trouble with, having hope. And so they need to be able to feel it when they're with you. And if you are just learning to do something to somebody, you're never going to really be a very effective person providing trauma treatment. So this lays out what we need to do for ourselves, what we need to do for clients, how to move them through the process of treatment. And then what we're doing there is normally the SafeNet is a 3-day training, but we're going to make it a 2-day training because I'm hoping people will remember what they learned on the first 3 days. And we're going to focus on the skill of being able to have those kind of conversations. It is for those that are thoroughly immersed in pathology and the way you think with pathology, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle for them to shift into a different mindset. I tease people all the time, a typical intake document for an addiction program, they're going to ask a question like, well, how many times a week do you use? How many different drugs do you use? And what you get is a number, but it doesn't tell you anything about the client. What we would do instead is ask questions like this. What's the first time you remember waiting before you used? How did you get yourself to wait? Now I have some information that's actually useful. It actually builds the client up. Whereas most of the pathology approaches really focuses on their human weakness. And if you're focusing on human weakness, it's incredibly difficult to create transformation.
Thank you for that. I actually am using that to majority of my clients, and you can't believe the amount of or the surprise in their faces when they ask them, like for example, say, "I can't stop drinking." Okay, when did you not drink? And I said, "Oh, you know what? I didn't drink at this day, or when I'm with my family and when I'm at our household, I don't really drink. And I said, see, so it's not you can't stop drinking because you can, right? And then they begin to realize that they have the capacity for that. um, Actually, SafeNet is a very good modality, not only for addiction clients, but for those clients who experience anxiety, um, depression. It works for especially trauma clients as well, who uh, thinks that they just did all the negative and bad things in their lives, and they don't recognize that as their capacity. So I'm really excited for us to hear that lecture. Now, go
Let me
ahead.
kind of just, that what I'm presenting to you is a therapeutic approach, but
Mhm.
SafeNet by itself, we have taught to teachers, we've taught to police officers, we've taught to a number of different professions,
Right.
because the concept of assuming value in people is huge, and it always impacts, in a better way.
That's right. That's right. And I am one of those who was impacted by that when you taught me SafeNet years ago. Now,
Yes,
that was just one question.
I seem to remember that you had kind of a shocked look at one point when you said something, and I said, "No, that's not right. This is how you need to look at that." You were like,
Exactly. I almost cried, I think, in such. So we were in class. So Coach Rowie would understand, and the people out there. We were in class, and I used to describe myself as an angry person. Okay, and then Dr. Rhoton said, "Let me challenge you for a bit. What if you are not angry?" And um, your exact words were, "What if you are a person who responds in an aggressive, hostile manner because of what happened to you, right?" And that was like, oh, it was like a block lifted off my shoulder, and I will forever thank you for that.
Boy,
Yes.
I heard Dr. Rhoton a while ago told that this works not only for therapists.
"Mhm."
You have and teach SafeNet for a lot of people. So this is an opportunity for the Filipino people to acquire that skill and the knowledge. So I hope many Filipinos will be able to attend this training.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rhoton, for the opportunity. For the
I'm excited to be there.
It's in 3 weeks. We're gonna be there. So, um, now, Dr. Roten, speaking about SafeNet, how can Filipino professionals and paraprofessionals, of course, maximize the benefit of the SafeNet training in their respective fields once they attended the 2 day session?
So, besides the fact that you're going to get a manual that walks you through it in great detail, the manual that you'll be sending out electronically is almost 300 pages, and it goes through everything in a lot of detail. And I wrote this in a very informal way. So it's not, so just about anybody can pick it up and understand it. And then in addition to having this manual that will be really useful, we also run open mentoring sessions that if you've attended one of the trainings, you join one of those. We have one which would be, I think it's 8 o'clock in the morning for you guys in the Philippines, but it's 6 p.m. For me in Phoenix. But we do one on Tuesday morning, and we're going to be adding one on Thursday evening. So, certainly plug in to those. We've had people. I know you've been in a couple of those. We have a diverse group of people from all over the world that join. And, you know, a lot of them have been attending twice a month now for 2-3 years. And so you get not only my view of how to use it, but you get to hear how they've had to adapt it in their culture. One of the things that has been really interesting is hearing the folks from Pakistan or India talk about how they've had to work with it in their culture. And then, you know, I think the one that you attended, we actually had medical doctors that attend with it.
Yes.
And so, you know, it is really open, and it's designed to help you implement this and have help doing so, because transformation always requires relationship. And if you're going to adopt a practice, you need people that really know how to do it. So it's, you know, either myself or Lindsay or Leah will be, you know, lead those.
Thank you
Ayan.
for that. So you heard it. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. I would highlight that. It's something to look forward. After the SafeNet, after the training, the participants will be able to attend the mentoring session. This
Mhm.
is attended by professionals from all over the world. So we
Mhm.
feel benefit greatly on this mentoring session.
Mhm. And it's ongoing, so there's not a time limit to it, because we, you know, some people implement it more slowly than other folks.
Mhm.
So it's just meant to support. And if we need more, because we try to keep it to about 35 or 40 people at max. If we need more, we'll add more.
Thank you for that. So, guys, oh,
Connect, Poy, it's an opportunity to connect and collaborate. Also, Poy, I would like to add, with the indulgence of Dr. Rhoton, Mindful PH to the effort of Mr. Michael Lu, and also one of our speakers on the first day, EMDR Philippines President, Dr. Lulu. Um, they will be holding a special group for those who signed up for CCTSI and the SafeNet to practice clinic hours, supervise clinic hours, also the mentorship. So it's
Mhm.
an opportunity for them to practice what they have learned from the program.
yes. So, people from Mindwell are gonna get their certifications and training. Their CCTSI from Arizona Trauma Institute, of course, of CCTSI and SafeNet, so they could, you know, supervise people in the Philippines. So those who are looking for supervisions, of course, with your practice, and CPD hours, of course, they just communicate with mindwell.ph, and scan their website. And maybe there are internship opportunities and supervision opportunities for everybody. So thank you for reminding me that. So Dr. Roten, for the next question, what do you think? What role can local or national government units play in promoting trauma-informed care?
That's one of those questions that gets me in trouble sometimes, because what you need is leadership
Mhm.
that is focused on the well-being of others rather than the territoriality of their own status and power. And so I don't find a lot of politicians that are really fundamentally focused on the well-being of people. And you know, and maybe it's that I don't have enough exposure, but certainly I have found that true in most of the countries where I'm dealing with governments, that, you know, if you can make it attractive and they can see that they can get some kind of power or status out of it, they're all about that. But if it doesn't really do that for them, um, they're less interested. This is really about how do we increase the level of compassion, the way we work with each other, how we treat each other, how do we practice kindness? How do we be intentional and deliberate? How do we, live a life that is well balanced? And my experience is that a lot of times governments really don't want their population to be well regulated because they're easier to manage if you keep them all emotional and upset about things. If you work on fear all the time, they make reactive choices, and instead of being, really thoughtful and self-reflective and making rational decisions. So if you have any politicians that are genuinely focused on the well-being of the community, at whatever level, I don't care if it's a, town council member or a mayor or, somebody, really support those people, really rally around them and encourage them, because that's what's going to change the entire culture. You can change individuals and individual families, but if you're going to change communities, you need leaders that pioneer and drive that change, that transformation.
Thank you so much. And that is a very good message from Dr. Rhoton himself. More of Dr. Rhoton this coming February. I like that. This coming, now I know why to get in trouble for it. Now I know that everybody is excited in the Philippines. Please watch us or stay tuned for more updates regarding the event. Registrations are now up. This is the last day of our early bird rate, and for group discounts, and of course for schools, hospitals, organizations, we offer group discounts. Please do message us at info@udrivegroup.org. So, ayun, wag mahiyang magtanong. Don't be scared to ask questions because there are no bad questions when it comes to this event. So, Dr. Roten, we really appreciate you coming and spending time with us. Unfortunately, we've got a very short span of time. And, a lot of questions are coming up. More options to attend. That's great. Yes, there are. So please stay tuned. Please follow Dr. Roten at their website, Robert Roten,
It's aztrauma.org.
aztrauma.org, and Arizona Trauma Institute on Facebook. And please follow UDRiVe Group. Um, that's it. UDRiVe Group on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I think we have TikTok as well, and Poy de Lara, coach and consultant. Also, we would like to thank again before we end our today's show, Coach Rowie, for being here with us. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Unilab, our partners, um, Mindwell.ph, ARD Talent Center. We want to thank Go Ladies, Latch Los Baños, and of course, Kalusugan ng Mag-ina. We will be inviting potentially people from Mindwell and Kalusugan ng Mag-ina for another live series so that they could answer some of the questions that are intended for them. So thank you so much, Dr. Roten and Coach Rowie, and please stay tuned for our post-event video.
Uh,
By UDRiVe Group, changing the way we care, help, understand, and respond. Arizona Trauma Institute. Poy de Lara, coach and consultant.
Kalusugan ng mag-ina.
Unilab. Mindwell PH. Latch Los Baños. Go Ladies. and ARD Talent Center. Thank you for watching.